everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and finally, after a really long wait, we're finally back to talking about Batman the Animated Series. We only got one of these done before the channel kind of had to go. I kind of went off the rails a little bit because of an incident that happened, and I never got back to anything. But we're back, and we're doing episode 2 of it. But here's the thing. In the list on the Batman Animated Series Blu-ray, Christmas with the Joker is the second video. But I'm trying to do this in the actual time that it happened. And so this is going to be the only time that I intentionally do a video that's out of sequence. We're going to do Christmas with the Joker. And then after that, we're going to actually watch them all in a row. So the next one, I believe, is Heart of Ice. Let me double check on that. But I think it's going to be Heart of Ice. It's either Heart of Ice or Nothing to Fear. I think it might be Nothing to Fear, the Scarecrow introduction. So this is our introduction to the Joker on the animated series. This didn't come out until November, maybe December, I believe. And it's Mark Hamill's first appearance as the Joker. To a lot of people, Kevin Conroy is Batman, and to a lot of people, including myself, Mark Hamill is the Joker. Both of these guys have given the most consistent performances and nuanced voice acting to these characters over, the animated series and movies and video games, that it gives us the full package. I do believe that the purest form of Batman and the Joker is these two guys. Not taking away from anybody else's performances, whether they're good or bad, but that's just how I feel about it. And like the first episode that we reviewed, I wanted to take a special notice to a couple of people that worked on the show. First, we're going to talk about props, animation props. That's the people who put everything, I believe, like the Batmobile and just things in the background that are in the episodes. So we're talking about Trish Bergio and Jonathan Fisher. As far as I know, Trish Bergio, if I'm saying your name wrong, you'll probably never see this, but if you do, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. She's worked on shows like the New Kids on the Block show, G.I. Joe Renegades, Mask of the Phantasm, and The Real Ghostbusters. The interesting thing about Jonathan Fisher, other than he doesn't have any credits past 2004, is he works on a show. Well, he still does stuff, but the most recent thing I found was working on the Mike Tyson mysteries. That's a thing. Okay, I believe I saw something about this. It took me a minute. It sounded like something that'd be on Adult Swim, and I don't know if it is or not. But those are two of the people that worked on the show. They've done a ton of animation. Jonathan Fisher worked on like Batman Beyond and Superman. They do a critical role in this. Things that you notice in the backgrounds and foregrounds, all these little things that they have, they're responsible. I believe that's what their job is. So I just want to give a little shout out to those people that don't get noticed. We always talk about Kevin Conroy and Bruce Timm and Paul Dini and Mark Hamill and everybody else, but nobody talks about them. Speaking of which, this episode was written by Eddie Gorodetsky and directed by Kent Butterworth. But Kent left in the middle of production, and Eddie took over his writing. And I believe that, and I think they say, as far as the production goes, that it says here, come on. It says it was the only episode directed by Kent Butterworth and was the only one written by Eddie, which is kind of interesting because when they talk about this episode, they had a little bit of problems with standards and practices because of the tone of it. Because, in the original, apparently Joker's going to take a real family and not just Gordon, the reporter, and Bullock. It was going to be a real family, and they were dancing the line of what Joker was going to do with them. This was dark, but this is Christmas, so they kind of ended up why it is kind of the way it is. It feels a little bit more like a mixture of the Tim Burton era Batman mixed with a little bit of cheesy campiness from the 60s Batman with like the whole kind of over the top the way the Joker does things in this. It feels a little bit more like an Adam West kind of episode of Batman. But it's still really good, and it's a nice introduction to the Joker. There's some things in here that are fun. The trivia that I found is pretty interesting. So yeah, like this guy wrote the episode. The director leaves in the middle of it. Eddie, the writer, takes over, directs this one thing, and then is never heard from again as far as the show. Never writes one of these again, and he never directs another one again. So, you know, all these little juicy tidbits. I'd love to know how this really went down. I don't know why, but I'm fascinated now. Mark Hamill supposedly has admitted that this is his favorite episode of his own as the Joker. When Joker's leaving when he's flying off, he is waving goodbye to Charles Manson, apparently. Charles Manson apparently is in Arkham Asylum. This is the first episode to feature Robin and the Joker. Not together, Robin and the Joker. And it was kind of, I remember when this came out, just being like, oh, Robin's just suddenly there. Just kind of no introduction. He's just there. And sorry if anybody can see this right here. I'm having kind of an allergic reaction to something. I'm like, I don't know what it is. So it looks like I almost have a black eye. The Joker performs the Jingle Bells Batman Smells thing in this. Bruce Timm has said that the episode, that the fact that he always runs it on Christmas every year is really different than a typical sappy Christmas episode in other series. It's dark, bitter, and weird. I don't know if they still air it or not, though. This is an old thing, but I do remember it airing a lot around the holidays. He says that it's one of our weirdest shows. And Kent Butterworth quit and went to Universal. Okay, that's the reasoning. In the middle of production. So he had to, like, Eric Radomski. I'm sorry, not the writer. But Eric Radomski pretty much redirected it through the layout staging, making it tighter. So I mixed that up. The writer didn't come in and direct. The writer did only write this one episode. According to Bruce Timm, BS&P refused to approve the original script. It said it started out as a much nastier, really funny script written by a friend of Paul Dini. Like there's a line that the Joker says, "I didn't have a family of my own, so I decided to steal one. It's a regular family." Mark Hamill also did The Trickster. There's a reference to a Charlie Brown Christmas. So this would go to the props, animation props in this that I actually brought up. That's why I chose them, because it turns out that the Christmas tree that's in the background of the Christmas, not the one he takes off on, but in his little place, it's the Christmas tree from a Charlie Brown Christmas is in that scene as well. And it takes place in 1992. And it's also the only episode that Joker doesn't wear his purple suit. That he's wearing this sweater that's kind of looks like a Mr. Rogers character. So that's all like kind of the crazy details about this episode. The things that I thought, like talking about, Robin trying to convince Bruce to watch It's a Wonderful Life and how Bruce can't get past the title. Just like... I love that. I love that so much. And I love how he's like, when he's patrolling, he can't believe that things are calm on Christmas because the Joker's loose and he's waiting for things. And like, so he's ready to pounce on people, when somebody actually does something good. When the guy runs up to the lady and he thinks he's going to mug her, he's actually helping her. It's kind of ruining, it kind of feels like it's ruining Christmas or ruining Batman's patrol. Because later, he's, after that, he's like, well, maybe we could go back out there, let's go back out there because I really want to beat somebody up, And they also talk about how, It's a Wonderful Life has, it's about how one man can have an impact on a city, and, Robin's like, like you. But I was thinking more like, well, it's got a guy who tries to, commit suicide. It's really dark. It's a Wonderful Life is a dark movie, man. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies because of that. It's so freaking dark. I mean, when he goes back, we're not talking about It's a Wonderful Life. The line that he reads for the announcement of the show nobody wants to see, but everyone will watch, like, because he's got everybody held hostage, basically, by this. I also like the laugh track that he uses, and it's not just a laugh track. You know, he's got groans and cheers and everything for the audience that's really in there. But there's a few things in here that just don't make sense, like when they've got the candy canes in their mouth. Why don't they just spit them out? Doesn't that? They don't clarify if it's like, you know, sticky, like he's got some kind of trick candy cane that would stick in your mouth. He just puts a candy cane in their mouth. I mean, if they want to keep screaming, so is it like they weren't allowed to use things like duct tape on mouths? Like, was that too disturbing for them? So we're just supposed to believe that Harvey Bullock and Commissioner Gordon and everything would just keep a candy cane in their mouth because the Joker wants them to? That screams like standards practices, things you can't do in a kid's show. Unfair jokes, like what Bruce Timm talks about. He has a little behind the scenes thing. The Joker loves to have unfair jokes. I feel like that's kind of like the train thing here, is that he's supposed to find Commissioner Gordon and all them before midnight, and so when he knows that Batman's on his way, he throws this train thing in the way. And I feel like that's part of the joke. Like, that's what Joker thinks is part of a joke, is throwing the train in the way. This unfair joke that he gets it. It's always, the joke is always on you. It's always you at an unfair advantage. I love this part right there. That's probably my biggest laugh in the episode when he's like we'll get to it though in a second. But that cinematic music during the whole train thing, very much like the Danny Elfman soundtrack. The animation for the train crash is really awesome. And when Batman saves the day there, Joker like says, "Let's kill Batman," and he blows up all the cardboard audience members. And he says, with the help of his little hand puppet, because there's like this cardboard raining down on them like snow, and he says, "Let's build a snowman." I don't know why they... Right, so yeah, as per usual, the camera decided to really flake out on me again. And so we're jumping kind of back in right after the whole joke that we were joking about the "let's build a snowman." Hey! Maybe that's where they got the line, "let's build a snowman," for the stupid-ass movie Frozen. Sorry. It just occurred to me, and I said it. And I stand by it, because fuck Frozen. And, and no, I'm not messing around. So, the joke about "let's build a snowman" really does get me every single time. The other thing that I think is really interesting is the logistics. And I know this is a cartoon, alright, but it's Batman, okay? It's Batman. Right? The logistics of turning a telescope into a cannon. It's another one of those reasons why, like, a lot of these big things make me feel like this would have, like, if they could have done stuff like this in the Adam West show, it feels like something so grand and big that how do you get that done? How do you get that done? I mean, look at the mobility on that thing. How do you get that done so that nobody knows that you took over the Gotham Observatory and turned it into a cannon? Stuff you don't think about when you're a kid. I love the actual commercial break announcements. It happens occasionally in shows where somebody will break the fourth wall. But I don't know if he's really breaking the fourth wall because it's on television, but it just times out with the actual commercial breaks. There's a Betty Blooper doll. I like that. When he puts the cape in front of the bears and the gangsters all shoot it, or, Joker's men shoot it, and the bear falls down and it's all full of holes, and it's like, "I love you very much." And the ultimate gag, the gag that I forgot, right, was, okay, he's got Bullock and Gordon and the reporter all hanging over the acid pit or the whatever, the chemical pit, the chemical vat. Right, first off, just looking at them, it's just like, how? Because they look like they're hanging right there. Like, perspective-wise, and I know I screw it up when I'm doing my comics reviews where I don't know my left and my right sometimes. But, like, the way that it looked, Just the angle of them looking like it's so close. But then he gives Batman the gift. He gives Batman the gift, and he's just like, "Come on, open it up!" Like you expecting like this, like something really terrible, and it's just a pie in the face. And that got me too, because I forgot that that's what it was. It was all of this was to just get Batman to get a pie in the face. The joke's on you, Bats. You know, just to see what he'd do, you know. I love that because the show gets it. They may have to tone down what the Joker does, but this show got what the Joker was always trying to do. And I love that. But then they give me, like I said, the perspective. So he snips the rope, and Gordon and Bullock fall, and Batman leaps to get all three people in midair. And by the way that they were there, if he cut it, they'd just fall right in. And they'd be dead or whatever. But they have that way of like, you know, all of a sudden they're like way high up. And he's got all the time in the world to like get them out of there. And enough time to come back down where the Joker slips on a roller skate. Hey, props put that there too, probably, you know. And he falls in and Batman grabs him and he's like, you know, Merry Christmas, Joker. I like this too. He's talking upside down. And that's Christmas with the Joker. We would have been done with this already if I hadn't had technical difficulties. But this isn't airing until tomorrow. I'm actually filming this on Sunday and then putting it up on Monday so that I can get ready. Because I want to be able to stick to this schedule. And I was like thinking to myself, there's no reason I can't watch it and then make the video when I have the time. And then just post it on Monday. That's what we're doing. So, this is the only time, hopefully, that I'll be doing them out of order. And I don't count the Cat in the Claw either. They say the Cat in the Claw was first, but I still say bullcrap on that. Where I live. Why would they have a part 1 of something that's a part 2 later? I don't know. I remember distinctly On Leather Wings being the first episode, so. But that's just one of these contentious things. And it aired in 1992, right? So we're talking 27 years ago. So in 27 years, maybe my memory's a little gone, but even I remember the first episode of Batman the Animated Series I saw. It was On Leather Wings. But we're getting off topic. Fantastic episode. Fantastic introduction of the Joker. Yeah, you can definitely tell that they were figuring out the character. It is a little jarring that they just throw Robin in on you. I thought that, though, when I was a kid. It was like, where's the introduction of Dick Grayson? Why don't they have his origin? Part of me kind of was like, good job for not throwing another origin story in there. But no build-up at all, no lead-up to Robin. He's just there was, you know, it's just a little weird. And so that's Christmas with the Joker. If you liked this review, please hit that like button. If you're enjoying the content on this channel, please become a subscriber. We're in this weird zone of 945, like 943 to 947 range on my subscriber count. We're so close to 1,000, and it's like we've only got like less than 2 months before the end of the year, and I would love to be able to say that at the end of this year we hit 1,000 subscribers. And I'd love for Batman the Animated Series lovers to help me get there. I'm not trying to, am I trying too hard? I don't know. But it's been 2 years and I'd like to hit that 1K so I can finally get this stick out of my ass about it. So anyway, we'll be back next week with what I believe is it's either the introduction of Scarecrow, the Fear one, Nothing to Fear. It's either that one or it's Heart of Ice. So either way, we'll be back next week with another episode of Batman the Animated Series. Later on today, we'll be airing the first episode of His Dark Materials. I finally remember the title of that show. We'll be on and we'll be uploading that tonight, Monday night, even though it's Sunday. I'm talking like one of those people that makes like a talk show where they air it like in the afternoon and play it at night. So anyway, this is Robin Smirking Gun Review saying thanks for joining me for watching this. I really enjoy rewatching these. It's so cool in Blu-ray, even though we got the pan and scan kind of like look to it, the transfer is really, really rad. If you have the time to get it, watch it. I think they have the whole series on DC Universe as well, but I like watching it on a hard copy. I'm going to be doing the same thing when I get Justice League on Blu-ray as well. So thanks for watching, as I said, and have a great day. We'll see you on the next video.